In Nanjing, China, a young girl named Mei happens to be a mathematical prodigy. She is such a genius that she solves calculations that not even her teacher could solve. One evening, while on the streets with her friends, Mei gets kidnapped by a gang known as the Triads, who are led by Han. Han learned about Mei's abilities and he wishes to use Mei as a mental calculator to eliminate his criminal enterprise's traceable digital footprint with her strong memory. He tests her after threatening to eliminate her mother, and Mei proves her skills. He puts her under the watch of Chan, who would take her to the US for their businesses. In Meadowlands, Luke Wright beats his opponent, sending him to the hospital. Furious about the incident, he attacks the people in charge of organizing the fights. It is revealed that it was a fixed match which Luke had to lose but won unintentionally. He gets informed that a Russian mob named Emil Doksevsky lost a lot of money after betting on Luke's loss and would be revenging on him. Luke drives faster home to warn his pregnant wife, but unfortunately, he reaches late. His wife has been murdered by the Russian Mafia led by Vasily, which breaks him down. Vasily's son, Doksevsky, claims that Luke caused a remarkable loss to their gambling business and disgraced their family name. Luke asks them to kill him, but instead, they choose to keep him alive because they want him to feel the pain of losing his wife. They warn him that they would kill anyone that comes close to him. Despite the fact that Luke is physically capable of fighting back, he chooses to control himself. In the USA, Mei has been secured American citizenship through a corrupt officer named Captain Wolf. Luke leaves his life behind, becoming homeless and wandering on the streets of New York. 1 year later, Mei has mastered the business in Chinatown, memorizing all the stocks, percentages, profits, costs, and revenue. She gets asked how the casino has been performing, and after learning that the in charge has been making losses, they hit him before shooting him dead with Mei witnessing. She wonders why they tortured him before killing him, but Chan informs her that she hasn't learned the business yet. Luke is now at a shelter for the homeless. Shortly, a poor sickly man approaches him and requests his shoes. Learning of his feet disease, Luke offers him the shoes and they sleep. In the morning, Luke wakes up only to realize the shoes he offered to the man are missing and he was even brutally murdered. Luke fails to explain to the security that the Russians might be the ones behind the murder. While asleep, Mei gets informed that her mother passed on 2 weeks back and that Chan kept it a secret so that she doesn't get distracted at work. Han has arrived from China to expand his business schemes. He asks Mei to memorize a long number on a paper which he says is very important, and after confirming she memorized it, Han burns the paper. Wandering on the street, Luke bumps into a homeless man and upon moving to a drugstore, he learns that the homeless man pickpocketed him. One officer drags him outside but shortly recognizes he is his former colleague in the force. The officers take Luke to an abandoned building and start to torture him. It is revealed that Luke was part of their team but he ruined their corruption scheme by giving them in before his retirement. They mock him about Doksevsky killing his wife, but Luke keeps his temper. One of them offers him a gun to kill himself, but Luke just walks away regardless of the provocations. Chan is driving Mei to memorize a second number, but while on their way, they get attacked by the Russians. Following a shootout, the Russians manage to kidnap Mei and drive away with her. They take her to Doksevsky, who learned that Mei memorized an important number and wants her to reveal it to him. It turns out that the woman working for the Chinese double-crossed them and tries to persuade Mei into giving the Russians the number. Mei cautiously warns her that she is dead because she doesn't know how the business runs, and shortly they shoot her dead. Chan calls Captain Wolf and cuts a deal to get Mei back from the Russians, sending police to Doksevsky's. The police order the Russians to open the door, but Doksevsky also calls Captain Wolf and gives him an offer better than that of the Chinese. The Russians realize that Mei has escaped, and she sneaks out of the window and flees to the streets. Realizing that greedy Captain Wolf is cutting deals, Doksevsky tells him that Mei has escaped to stop his men from moving inside with guns. Doksevsky informs him that they should join their forces and get the number for Mei before the Chinese get to her, which Captain Wolf agrees to. They head out to hunt her, though the Chinese have also learned of the police's betrayal to join the Russians. At the Manhattan subway station, Luke seems broken and is on the verge of committing suicide, but shortly notices Mei. He changes his mind and sits down but shortly notices Mei hiding from the Russians, which captures Luke's attention. Mei boards the train as well as the Russians, which forces Luke to intervene and see if he can save Mei from the assailants. Inside the train, Mei is still being pursued, though Luke is also at the back finding a way in. Mei runs into a dead end, but, thanks to Luke, before the Russians get to her, he has arrived. He starts to dispatch the goons in hand combat, and given his cage fighting skills, he finds ease in putting them down. Recognizing one of them among those that killed his wife, he shoots him on the spot. He picks a wallet and cell phone from one of them. Though Mei seems terrified of him as well, when he approaches her to inquire if she is fine, she just runs away instead. While pursuing her, he learns that the police are also looking for her. Unluckily, May falls into the hands of the dirty cops who attempt to take her, but Luke arrives and hits them ruthlessly, given that they were the ones that tortured him earlier. As he tries to earn May's trust, the Russians arrive, which forces her to drive with him. Dostoevsky receives the news that May has been taken by an unidentified man, which forces him to order the elimination of both of them. The Russians are chasing them tirelessly, though Luke is still confused why everyone is looking for May. As the street race gets tense, Luke manages to dodge a bus, but the Russians bump into it. Luke has not yet done so. Luke made to take her to a safe place. He lures the Russians into a trap and shoots them mercilessly, putting an end to their lives. Captain Wolf gets devastated by the news that May has been taken by Luke, who he happens to know very well. With the wallet he got, Luke manages to make a hotel reservation, disguising as Ivanov. Luke has booked a nice hotel, hoping that they can't be traced from there, but the Chinese have tracked May's phone, learning their address. May and Luke introduce themselves officially, and Luke learns that May has been staying with Chan. Luke, knowing about Chan, figures out that they must be having May for a reason. She reveals to him that she is a math prodigy and, coming to trust Luke, she tells him that Han trusted her with a number. Luke asks her if she wants him to take her to Han, but May declines, knowing that he will kill her since things are already messed up. With an open heart, she reveals the number to him, and upon learning the interesting figures in the number, Luke realizes that they aren't just numbers, these are codes that can be used to open a combination safe, which May hadn't thought about. The Chinese have invaded the hotel in search of Luke and May, and they forcefully ask the receptionist for their room number. The security guard intervenes, which brings about a shootout. But Luke recognizes their presence. He learns that May's phone was traced, which forces him to ask May to write down the numbers for him. The Chinese have caused chaos in the hotel. Luke and May are on their way out. He shoots one of them down and flees, but outside the police have arrived and shortly engage in a gun battle with the Chinese. Luke engages the Chinese in the dining room and shoots them down before engaging the rest in combat. He dispatches them savagely, but shortly after, May gets captured. Following a shootout, Luke flees to save himself. Chan creates a diversion by forcing everyone inside to move out, giving him a chance to escape from the police while holding May. Luke steals a car but drives for a short distance and abandons it for a cab. While inside, he calls Vasily with the stolen phone, disguising his voice as one of their Russian goons. After changing his voice to a Russian accent, he informs him that he got the number for May, which everyone is looking for. Overwhelmed in getting the number, Vasily organizes a meeting and gives the address to Luke. Across town, Captain Wolf meets with Mayor Danny Tremolo, who has learned that Luke is involved. He cautions Wolf, explaining that Luke was not a regular cop, he was a black ops man who was loaned by the government as a favor to Tremolo by friends in the CIA shortly after September 11. Along with his former partner Alex Rosen, Luke and Alex assassinated several crime bosses in an effort to impose order. Luke quit after exposing Wolf's detective squad as dirty cops. Tremolo orders them to close all the exits, knowing how experienced Luke is and that it would be worse once he gets away with May. May gets delivered back to Han, who inquires if she revealed the number to anyone. She denies telling it to anyone, saying that she pretended not to know English and only spoke Chinese. Luke moves to the address that Vasily gave him and upon reaching it, he picks up a prostitute outside and proceeds inside. He takes time while analyzing the whole place and later pays her off to run away. He moves to the counter where he attacks Vasily's guards and dispatches them before kidnapping Vasily and moving out to his own car. He calls Dostoevsky and informs him that he is holding his son and offers him a deal. He threatens him that he would get the information about his businesses and offer it to his Chinese competitors, then he would move on to kill his family and make him a remembrance if he doesn't comply with him. Luke asks him what the codes are for, and Dostoevsky reveals that they are for a safe which contains $30 million. It is revealed that there is a second safe which also contains an item valuable to $30 million too. When Luke asks for the location of the safe, Dostoevsky warns him that he would need an army to get to it. Vasily realizes that Luke had the potential of killing them when they attacked his wife, but instead he just ties him up and keeps him in the car trunk. Luke then contacts Captain Wolf and his detectives. Because he needs a team to get to the safe, Luke starts by burning the paper with the combination of the safe after memorizing it and making it as leverage. He reveals to them about the $30 million in the safe and asks them to join him in going for the safe. Learning that it could be a great retirement package, Captain Wolf and his detectives reluctantly agree to the deal. They arm themselves and head out to the place where they open up a fight on the Chinese triads. The fight gets tense, but they manage to dispatch them all and proceed downstairs towards the safe, where they clean out some men before reaching it. Knowing that the detectives could double-cross him, Luke orders all of them to put down their guns. He pretends to open the safe but shortly turns around and shoots them, sparing only Captain Wolf. He forcefully orders him to open the safe. Though the police have arrived outside, Luke and Captain Wolf move out with the money, though he is still a hostage who Luke ties and leaves in the car trunk. Luke then calls Alex, who is the Aiden Mayer's boyfriend. Knowing that Alex is the one in charge of the exchanges, Luke informs him that he has the $30 million that the Chinese were planning to pay him. It is revealed that the second safe belongs to the mayor, containing a disk with data on every crime syndicate in New York. The Chinese intend to acquire the disk so that they could use it in blackmailing the government officials. Luke bribes Alex into rescuing May, and upon meeting the Chinese, they pretend to have the money. Alex brutally kills them all as May watches and secures her to leave. Meanwhile, Luke assaults the mayor's office for the disk, but the mayor denies having it. Luke forces him to reveal his copy, and after confirming it contains the data he needs, he knocks him out. Luke then meets with Alex, who learned about Luke's assault on the mayor. Knowing that Luke has both the money and disk, Alex wonders what he needs May for. Luke refuses to surrender the money and instead suggests that they settle it with a fight. Before they can begin, May shoots Alex, wounding him, and Luke finishes him off. On approaching her, May informs him that she had seen Alex fight before and he is bad business for Luke. Later on, he unties Captain Wolf and orders him to return Vasily to his father unharmed after paying him $50,000 for the troubles he went through. He sends the remainder of the money to Han to buy May's freedom, threatening to ruin Han's operations should Han try to recover May. Han leaves New York City in disgust as Luke hides multiple copies of the disc throughout the city. Luke and May make plans to leave the city and head west, possibly to Seattle. When May asks if they are finally safe, Luke responds that they will take it one day at a time, bringing the movie to the end. Don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps.